LGBTQ rights in Cuba. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I will be talking about the history of homosexuality in Cuba and how the communist government has treated the LGBT community. Homosexuality has been a part of the Cuban culture for centuries, but it wasn't until the Cuban Revolution in 1959 that attitudes towards the LGBT community began to change dramatically. Throughout the years, the LGBT community in Cuba has faced both persecution and progress. These topics will be discussed in detail throughout this presentation. By the end, I hope to have shed some light on the challenges faced by the LGBT community in Cuba while also highlighting the progress that has been made towards equality. Homosexuality was largely viewed as a taboo in Cuba before the revolution. Homosexuals were subjected to discrimination and violence. The Catholic Church and traditional gender roles played a significant role in shaping the attitudes towards homosexuality. The Cuban Revolution brought about significant changes in attitudes towards homosexuality, and the government had to take a more progressive stance on LGBTQ rights. This was because communism was supposed to promote equality for all citizens. Additionally, the influence of the Marxist ideology played a significant role in changing attitudes towards homosexuality. The government understood that equality was necessary for the success of the revolution, and the rise of the feminist and LGBTQ activism also helped by promoting greater acceptance of the LGBT community. At first, the communist government took a progressive stance on LGBTQ rights, but unfortunately, this changed over time. The government began to prosecute LGBTQ individuals in the 1960s and 1970s, and they used police harassment, arrest, and imprisonment. They saw homosexuality as a threat to the socialist revolution and traditional gender roles. Homosexuality was thought to be an American import from American movies and non compatible with Cuban values. It was just too much freedom. In the 1980s, the Cuban government was also concerned about the spread of HIV and AIDS, a disease that at the time was associated with the homosexual community. The response to the HIV/AIDS epidemic was slow and ineffective, and prejudice and discrimination against the LGBTQ people made it so that AIDS patients were sent to isolated camps. The government eventually took steps to address the epidemic with educational messages and by promoting free healthcare to those with HIV or AIDS. Today, the LGBT community in Cuba continues to fight against deeply set cultural and political prejudice.